Yo guys, and welcome to another Clan Chimera video. My name is Driver, and I'm just doing this video today as a result of dueling with a very good friend of mine. We had some great, really close duels, and in terms of skill, we were quite evenly matched. But the thing that defined the match for me, and the thing that's made me look at my own game, which is good to do every now and then, is the fact that I'd inadvertently become quite predictable. And what he taught me in those duels, and what I learned of myself, was that I needed to take it back to formula a little bit and reassess the way I play. But in doing so, you can find that it's a sort of common human trait. People do become predictable. So in these fights, I start to look at patterns. Start to look for, you know, repetitive behaviour and shit like that, and I kind of had pretty good results. So I just thought I'd make a little video about it. So in these this first particular round of this tournament, I'm up against a berserker who was rep 20, and I was expecting him to be quite good. I was quite surprised at the way he played in this first round. He seemed to be fairly sort of basic, spinning after every first hit seemed to be the pattern, which avoided every kind of follow-up guard break and such like that. I fell for it again, this one, but this is sort of where I began to spot the pattern, and once you can do that, sort of break down the fight. You know, I'm not saying that this guy was particularly great. As I say, I rep 20 berserker. Really, I expected a hell of a lot better. Perhaps I gave him too much respect in the first round. So the fact that he was still repeating it in the second gave me the blueprint to essentially beating him. Really, like, as we can see, he hits. Whenever he's hit, he spins, and he's hyper aggressive to the point he drains his stamina, and as soon as his stamina is depleted, he backs off, which I suppose is fairly common behaviour for a berserker. But what isn't, especially for a good berserker, is there's been no feint so far, there's been no deflects, it's been fairly sort of linear, straightforward spin, hit. So it gave me some windows and some avenues to explore. If you can basically preempt what you think people are going to do, it's when the good players like start feinting this shit. Obviously, that becomes a much more reactive game altogether. But this guy pretty much seems to be doing the same thing. So I kind of stopped what I would instinctively do, and not so normally do, to see, you know, at certain points in your game, you got to dig in. You just got to nut up or shut up, haven't you? And this is one of those sort of situations. I think I actually lost this round, but I was aware that this guy wasn't very good, and I was determined that I wasn't going to lose to a not very good berserker. Because it's an insult to Kenso's and good berserkers. Like, this dude doesn't deserve to he doesn't deserve to beat me. If he does, it's down to me being shit, and I wasn't going to let that happen. So with all that in mind, I sort of had a rough idea, well, not a rough idea, there's 3 rounds now, a pretty good idea what to expect. So here we go. Okay, there's the first hit in the spin. Expect that again. Stamina's gone, so he's backed off. He's backed himself into a corner. Top heavy unblockable, and victory. So that's the lessons that we've learnt from the first 3 rounds of playing against the guy. He doesn't seem to be able to, he's not switching it up. He has a plan A and inevitably not a plan B. Let's just see if we can capitalise on that yet again. Here he comes to the spin. Here he's going to spin now. There we go. Spin. Yep. Too predictable. Counter. Spin. Right, and his stamina's gone, so back he goes. Can't get away. Top heavy unblockable. And a win. I will repeat it yet again. I'm not saying for the record that that guy was a good player. I'll put that out there right now. He wasn't very good, let's be honest. Not saying I'm good either, but what I did manage to do there was break down his attack pattern. And that, as a general rule, if you're able to do that, then you will find yourself winning a lot more. I don't profess to be a great duelist. In fact, to be honest with you, I used to do a fairly good duelist. I've still got a 2.0, I think, KD ratio from the times when I was a dueler. But since then, particularly in making a lot of the videos for the Clan Chimera channel, I've become somewhat more of a team-based man, particularly Dominion, and as a result, my sort of duel skills have dipped quite significantly. You don't realise sort of how much the repetition of this game sort of drills it in. Anyway, on to this next fight. Again, this was a Rep 11 Orochi, which is more than enough to be good at something. This guy's pretty much following the light spam mould. The sort of samurai equivalent of a PK. He's not doing anything particularly flashy. I'm expecting more from him. Yeah, lots of lights, lots of lights. It's a terrible way to play. So, you know, he beat me. He beat me because I was expecting him to do different and better things. So I'm at fault there. So let's go again. Perhaps he's just faking it out there. Kenzo's attack is a lot slower, so I mean it's a smart move, to be fair. It is a smart move, but it is obviously a very predictable one. So I saw that one come in. I saw that one come in, I went for the hyper armor, didn't expect that one. Double top lights into the guard break is a really common thing, so that's obvious. Didn't expect him to be, again, so hyper aggressive. I'll put in a wow because that is like everything's a light, and at this point I'm annoyed I shouldn't be losing to shit like that. So when the round 3 now, I'm sure of the pattern. So if I lose from this point forward, it's just me being a fucking idiot, not him being good. I'm not prepared to give him that. So in we go. We're looking for that. Yep. Every time he hits the double top light, it's normally into the guard break. Followed by that. Very counterable. It's a great move to Storm Rush. Now he's out of stamina. So we've got to chase him down now. Chase him down. Unfortunately I'm out of stamina. I should have done better than that. Should have knocked him on the ground. But again, you can't capitalise on it. So that's one back. I've learnt his pattern at this point. He's very fond of the guaranteed double top lights. He's very fond of the Storm Rush. And he's very, very robotic. Again, this is another guy. I'm not saying he's good because he's not. I haven't seen a feint yet from either of them. I haven't seen the deflect yet from either of them. So at this point, I'm just preempting. At the end of the day, once you've seen a pattern, it's quite difficult to, as I found myself, I side dashed too much, and that's from my time as a main and a Orochi. But it's very difficult to sort of unlearn inherent behaviours. It's something that takes more discipline than you think, actually, to be honest, because a lot of it being muscle memory, your fingers react a certain way when you hit a sequence of events, like a chain and a combo in any fighting game, Street Fighter, Tekken, or you know, Killer Instinct, whatever. It's like your hands know what they're doing before you give them any conscious thought. but this takes a bit more discipline to work out this game. This is why it's such a good game, and also why people are so good at it. The fact that I do worry about the new guys joining, to be honest with you, because people that have been here this long, 3 seasons, for all its all of its issues, people here have learnt the distance and they've learnt the trade. It is a very, very skilled game. Oh, and there's our first deflect. So he's starting to learn. He's starting to learn me. Unfortunately, look at that, he can't change. It's too ingrained in him. At that point, yeah, I knew where he was going to go, so I traded off for the hyper armor, and that is that fight won. Not a very great player. Not a particularly good fight for me, but I learnt his habits, I learnt his patterns, I learnt his traits, and managed to pull it back from 2-0 down to get the win. Okay, and on to round 3. Gladiator can actually be a pretty tricky fight for a Kensei, given the speed difference in the attacks. Well, I mean, a skilled Gladiator is a really, really good character. It may seem like I've said that, but I'm a big fan of the Orochi. I'm a big fan of Berserker. You know, these are characters that when people know what they're doing, it may sound fairly lineal to say that, but you could say that about any character, but the assassins in general are pretty hard to deal with for a slow character like a Kensei, simply because they all primarily have that dash ability, and that nullifies a fair bit of your sort of straightforward come at me bro. Like, it's a completely different approach to like breaking a warlord or a conqueror, something like that. One of the so I tend to throw quite a few lights myself against these assassins. It makes for lights in the hyper armors, because you're going into big hits. Like parries, obviously, that they offer a smaller window for deflects, but you will, there we go, you will still get caught by them if you're not careful, and if people know what they're doing. Guard break is a good counter to the spinners. If you know they're going to spin like that, then it gives you an exploitable window. I found this to my detriment again against my friend when we were dueling. But it really is worth just every now and then, you know, everybody thinks, and once you get past a certain rep, there's a sort of misconception that once you've got your legendary gear and you've been playing it for months, that you can't improve. And sometimes it's the most basic things, like every now and then just rewatch old videos and tutorials and shit, because you just I don't know, I just forget. Like, I mean, I regularly watch just like tutorials for the characters that I'm playing. I mean, there's plenty on YouTube, and you know, there's a load on the channel, and there's more coming up all the time. But for some reason, you sort of tend to forget. You know, you kind of become preoccupied with certain things. I mean, like, there's so much. Like, Kensei is a good example, because everybody says he's got no openers and he's got no this, he's predictable and he's slow, and all those are valid points to people that will be there to exploit him and such. But you just fall into the sort of it's not complacency. I do think it's just like the muscle memory. You just become I don't know what the word is. It becomes ingrained in you to play a certain way, and there's so many variables, there's so many play styles to play: a reactionary, offensive, turtle, and also very different. I missed the semi-final recording, apologies. So we skipped straight to the final, and this is against the guy who was a gladiator, who's now, could be in the final, he's hopped to his main, which is a warden. Again, which a good warden is a fucking tough fight, a real top tier character. He's got fairly low reps, so I'm reasonably confident. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so we come out. I know he's to be not so aggressive this one. He's a little bit more cautious, this player. Yeah, he caught me straight there. Can't argue with that. He's a little bit more defensive. He's more cautious minded. We've already had a fight, bearing in mind. Yeah, missed the guard break there. Quick zone. Now he's out of stamina, so he's going to back off. And there he is. He backs off. Okay, I made that a little bit too easy for him. Managed to get away with that. I thought I got the kill here. To my detriment. Too obvious. That one there, I did cancel and go for the parry, but I was too slow. So we got a rough idea of what he's going to do. He's very fond of the zone attack. He plays fairly counter. He's a semi-turtle. He's not terrible. He's not a vortex, so he doesn't really come forward with the shield bash at this point. So in with the top heavy, lovely. Bosh, and again. Okay, now I'm fucked. I'm out of stamina. I missed that card break. That was a good counter. A good feint into another guard break, and we're pretty much even. So as we started. Right, he's backing himself into a corner. He's not taking it to me. And bosh. There we go. I'll take your arm. There it is. Down there, mate, with your dignity. Learn better. Okay, 2 more rounds. Let's do this. Okay, so he's seen 4 rounds of me now, 5 rounds of me now. I'm trying to not be too predictable at this point. Straight down the middle. Didn't expect to land that. Missed this one, went for the wall bounce. Was a bit lucky to get away with that. Another good cancel, should have seen that one. But now he's fucked, he's out of stamina. So I'll get a cheeky free out. I can only get a light in here. But I know he's going to back off, so we reset. I don't know why he's not vortexing or shoulder barging. He's not a great player. Nevertheless, you can only beat what you got in front of you. So I didn't feint that one out. I just thought I'd let it fly. See how we got on. Lovely. Okay, so now we've got a fair idea. He's quite keen on the zone. He likes to counter the guard break, and he's expecting the side dash. So we adjust our play accordingly to those sort of 3 basic principles. Well, he's more aggressive than I expect him to be there, but his stamina's still hold him. Still hold him. He's a lot more cautious this fight. A lot more cautious. Obviously with it all on the line, he doesn't want to lose. And good, he finally starts coming forward. That's when I could exploit him. Been waiting for him to do that for the last 2 or 3 rounds, but he didn't want to know. That is a little bit cautious. A little bit dodgy area, throwing a top at a fucking warden. I'm aware of that, but he hasn't shown anything, not displayed anything to me that's made me think that. Cheeky light in, and we take the win. So, in conclusion, I'm not saying these are great players, and like I'm a great player by any stretch, but what I'm hopefully illustrated in this little video is that if you can take the time to study and work out your opponent's pattern, because a lot of players, most players have actually got a pattern, they just don't realise it. If you're able to work that out before they are, then you will get more wins. And thanks for my friend for pointing that out. For now, Guyver, signing out.